You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
Good morning, everybody. This is our second part of our Monday morning show. I got Scott Hobbs calling all the way. Last week you were out of town, or I was out of town, and we were just everywhere. And we had had to run a rerun. But where are you at this week, Scott?
Yeah, I'm back in town. We've been back in town for about a week. So.
All right. Well, very, very good. Now, we were talking about preventive maintenance for listen to me. Sound like I'm from Panama City. For preventive maintenance for homes as well as cars, but people are getting ready to go on spring break. I know that's coming up, and they're going to be leaving, going out of town. And I was reading about some of the tech tips out there for you leaving and go out of town. They mentioned turning off the water. Now, that's something you've mentioned before, but this is just recently, I'm just starting to see a lot of people talking about it because, well, even this morning on Facebook, someone I know said a water pipe ruptured in their wall, in their bedroom wall, and the noise woke their son up about 2 o'clock in the morning. And so that could happen when no one is there. A pipe can rupture for no reason whatsoever. But they live on the beach, and you were telling me that on the beach, that's sometimes what happens is during the summertime, or springtime, summertime, whatever, the pressure varies as much as 30 to 40 pounds.
That's right. So they've got to get all the water to those condos, to the top of those condos. Now, the condos will have a booster system, but they still have an increased demand. So you'll find in the residential communities, they experience that increase in water pressure, especially at night, because as people stop using water, that pressure builds up. And you're absolutely right. It can if something was going to break, it's very likely will break with that increased pressure. And you're absolutely right. If folks are going out of town, just shut the water off. Unless you have some special appliance that requires water circulation, just go ahead and shut it down.
Well, what about, someone said, well, what about my ice maker? I really don't know how to shut it off. I said, don't worry. It ain't gonna, even if it goes to the cycle, it's not going to have anything to push out. It's, it'll just sit there and not have any water in it. I don't think it's going to hurt it at all. You don't have to worry about it. The best thing about it is shut it off at the water meter itself would be the best place, closest you can, because you're responsible from the water meter to the house. Is you are responsible, the homeowner, and if the water line breaks between the meter and the house, you're still responsible. So if possible, go to the meter, I guess, would be the best place to do it at, if possible.
Well, most of your municipalities require you to have a shutoff valve on your side of the meter,
right?
And they ask that you don't use their shutoff,
right? Yes,
right. So there should be something on your side of the meter. If not, I would highly recommend getting something installed, a shutoff that's accessible, easy to get to. And of course, this time of the year, you've got Mr. Sneaky Snake. They're either hibernating or they're trying to get out in the sun. So make sure you know where you're sticking your hand before you put your hand in there.
That's so true. We're finding out a lot of bees are starting to find into the water meters. I've had a couple calls last year and this year about people saying, I've got honeybees down in my water meter. And I said, well, they're first generation Africanized bees that they're not going to hurt you or anything, but that's why they're so low in the ground, because it's just their nature to do that. They need to be removed, but they do have a tendency to find water meters. I don't know if y'all found any or not this year, but you probably will before the year's over with on the water meter.
Wow. Thanks for that. We definitely talk about that about this time of the year.
Yes.
Hey, be careful sticking your hands in water meters. So
I'll
definitely mention that to the guys.
They will find out, because this is their first generation Africanized bees that go into the ground. Apis mellifera, which is the European bees, they like to go from 4 to 8 foot up, somewhere in that general area. The first generation that's mixed with that's coming up from South Florida, we're finding out they like to get into the ground. They like to get into water meters. And since they've got water meters now that are reading by satellite, they don't get disturbed very much.
Right.
And so I'm getting all these people to say, I've never gone into my water meter, and I went to check it to put in to put in a valve to cut off my water. And guess what? It's full of honeybees. I went, ooh, you got a problem there. But we can take care of that too. So that's another story. If you see that, let me know. We can take care of it. We can call someone to get them out of there for you. But I was just curious about what other forms of preventive maintenance people might want to do before they take a trip to go out of town, besides cut the water off. Can you think of it?
Well, if you're not going to shut the water off for some reason, go to your wash machine and shut those valves off behind your wash machine. The manufacturer, believe it or not, we've discussed this before. If you read the owner's manual, it'll tell you to shut the water off after every use, which nobody does that. But if you still have those black rubber hoses, then I would suggest shutting it off after every use and verifying that valve does work. And as soon as you can, replace those with a braided stainless steel hose to prevent ruptures. But that I would shut those off. I would check the supply lines under your sinks and lavatories and toilets to see if they're the rubber hoses or if they're the braided, and then maybe possibly shut those off. Now, if you haven't shut those valves off in years and years, they may leak when you shut them off.
That's what I was thinking.
Sure.
That's the bad thing about it. Every time I've done that, I had to end up calling a plumber to fix what I did. I went in there and went, let me cut the valve off. And when I did, it started leaking. And I said, well, let me put it back. And it kept leaking. I went, we have to do something about this. I said, I've made it worse because it hasn't been touched in 20 years, and now I've touched it. And so, that's the only bad thing about it. If you haven't touched them, you're going to have problems, because that's the thing about when you come over to a place to do a pre-inspection, or someone has a problem. Say they got a stopped-up sink. Y'all fix the sink what you're supposed to, and then when it's all said and done, you will go and look at every valve, every drain in the house, and actually do a visual inspection on these to make sure that they're working like they're supposed to. And all that's done at no charge, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's right. If we're out there for a basic service call, we'll do that. Be glad to do that. If you have an access to your sewer main, we'll even run our fiber optic camera through that drain to see if there's any potential stoppages or root intrusions or bacteria build up or anything of that nature.
Well, that's kind of like the same thing we're doing in the automotive repair industry. You come and look down the drain pipe, the exhaust pipe, so to speak, of the house, and see what's going on. Well, we do the same thing when a car comes in. We put up an exhaust probe up the tailpipe, and we see what's coming out of the engine, and we can tell if it's got things coming out of the engine that shouldn't be there, even though there's no check engine light. It's not telling the customer there's a problem, other than the fact that maybe the customer knows the gas mileage isn't as good as it's supposed to, or maybe it hesitates a little bit, or maybe there is a check engine light. But all these, we can see what's coming out the exhaust and make determinations of how we need to go about it. And you're doing the same thing by looking what's going out the drain pipe. And you can see if you've got the fog, you call it fats, oil, and grease, if built up to the point that maybe you don't have a drain problem now, but in time, very, very soon, because it only takes one hard thing to dislodge and get caught in a narrow passageway. The next thing you know, you got 3 inches of water in your bathroom, in the floor.
Right, or you have a guest come over and they flush something they shouldn't flush.
Yes,
and it gets caught. So.
And that's either that or when you usually have your grandkids come over, you find things. You find things after they left inside the toilet. There was just no way a dinosaur, a toy is going. I had to get there from a grandkid, but those are the things that y'all take care of, and y'all have 24-hour service. I'm tooting your horn here, because when people's pipes break, like my buddy Richard this morning, he's at 2 o'clock in the morning. He didn't sit there and say, "Oh, I got to wait till 8 o'clock." He made a phone call. Now he didn't call. He didn't call y'all, but he's still waiting for someone to be there. I just talked to him a minute ago on Facebook. They still haven't arrived, but he was smart enough. He's an engineer. He was smart enough to go out to his front yard and cut the water off. And now they have a what we call those a wet vac carpet cleaners, and they're trying to get all the water out they can. But it went through the wall and made a very big mess. It was between the walls.
Wow.
And yeah, this is something, I don't know if that was preventable or not. I just know that when a pipe breaks inside a wall, that's not a good thing. But that's one of the things y'all do, is try to prevent that from happening. And
that's right.
And I think y'all can do a pretty good job of that. So if anyone has a questions or calls or want to know about how maybe they can get some of the services you offer, they can call 763-2001. Is that correct?
That's right.
All
yes.
right. I'm making sure I got that right. Ask Scott Hobbs. You're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's no extra charge, if I understand, for weekends and holidays or even at night. It's the same price Monday through Friday, no matter what. Or Monday.
Same price. That's
Same
right.
price. Anything else you want to talk about, Scott, before we go?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
I would just say, if you are concerned about any of these things we're talking about, you need to make sure that you know where to shut the water off at. Your friend is a perfect example. He knows exactly where to go, but so many people don't think about it. It's not top of mind awareness.
No, it is not top of mind awareness. Like I said, he's an engineer. He's smarter than the average person when it comes to how things work. But just think about what happens if someone doesn't know how things work. A lot of wives, a lot of husbands. There's a lot of people out there, husbands and wives, that don't know where the water main is, and that's something.
I've got a tenant that did that.
You did what?
Had a water leak and didn't call anybody.
Oh, that one. Yes, I forgot about that.
So $10,000
later. Yes, yeah, it was a $10,000 water leak.
Wow.
Rental house. You know how that is. It's not my house. I don't care.
Right. Fixing the pipe is usually the cheapest part.
It usually
getting through the pipe and repairing the damage from the leak.
Oh, mainly repairing the damage from the leak. That was. I think it was $500 to fix the pipe and $9,500 to fix the damage that it did.
Wow.
I think that's how it was on there. But anyway, thank you so much for calling. They can reach you at 763-2001. And there's someone manning that phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they'll be more than happy to take care of you. All right, thank you so much for calling, Scott. We're going to get over here in just a second. All right, that was Scott Hobbs from Hobbs Plumbing. Give him a call if you have a question. This is James Morris from James Auto Center. If you have a car question or you want to be a part of the show, that's what this show is about. Every morning, Monday through Friday, from 6 to 6:30, we try to help people get answers to car questions. They write me, they call me, they Facebook me. However, like I said, you can call me at 763-0555, or you can Facebook me at James Auto Center of Panama City, or you can email me at james@masterautotech.com. Either way, that's what we're here for, is to help you get answers to your questions you may have about your car, because cars are not cheap. Remember, and cars are not easy to work on. If it were so easy to work on, we wouldn't have to spend all these thousands and thousands of dollars to buy the tools and special equipment that we have to work on them correctly and to do them the way that it's supposed to be done. It's not your daddy. It's not like it used to be when I was a kid growing up. Cars are nothing more than computers on four wheels. Hey, this is James Morris along with Anna Marie Morris. We'll talk to you all tomorrow morning. Give us a call, 850-763-0555. We'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.